your engine!
And good evening. And welcome to Iracing Season 4 2019, Week 1. And so far this week, we've had one streaming session. And that was last evening at Mossport in the Ferrari 488 GT3. That went pretty well. We had a good race, had a fairly decent finish. Check out that video if you haven't already. Tonight, we're going to start with a practice session. This is the Class A fixed setup NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. Driving the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. It's at Las Vegas starting week 1 this series. And like I said, this is fixed setup, so not really too much you can change as usual. Pretty well set. We are going to do some practice here and put in a few laps, see how things are going. So right now, looks like 30s are the fast laps. Fair number of people registered so far. We've actually got about 20 minutes or so before this race is scheduled to start, and so we'll do laps up until the last minute or so, and then we will convert over to a separate race session as usual. So I'm going to go ahead, let's see, usual setting changes. So steering ratio of 10-1, I'm probably going to go to a little higher ratio of 12-1, and going to set my steering ratio offset, to the right a little bit, which I like to do on ovals. Make it so I do not have to steer too far to the left. Don't know that we need any braking on this course, so I'm not really going to mess with that. And so let's go ahead and get some practice done. And let's set my screens up here for typical NASCAR running. Timing off to the side here. All right, so 30s. Pretty much with any NASCAR race, the idea really is just to see how well you can run the track, where you need to lift off, where you need to push in, get that speed out of the track. Turn down my sound here a little bit so I can talk. But Las Vegas really isn't too bad of a track. Probably falls in the middle territory between super speedway and short track, if that wasn't obvious. Just like most tracks, it's probably just a little bit of a lift going into corners. See how we do with these first couple of laps here. The car doesn't seem too twitchy, seems to bite pretty well. So first lap out looks like a 32.089. Like that. Which is obviously slow. Let's see what happens if we keep our foot in it. Just a little bit off on the throttle there. Looks like it sticks pretty well, so I'm going to take about 7/10 off. 31.325. That's better. Yeah, there we go. That's sticking nicely. almost down into the 30s, I think.
31.023.
Not quite there. Got a little bit of a bump draft off him there. See if I can let him pass.
Got one inside. 30.732. Keep it on top. Clear to the bottom.
So we're down into 30.7s. That's not bad at all. Still a couple of tenths off the fast pace. See if we can't get a little bit of a draft here. Follow car number 13.
31.03.
Yeah, this is handling very nicely. Got a little bit of a toe here.
30.629.
Yeah, that is very nice. Don't know what we got as far as a toe, but
30.693.
the card seems to stick really well, so I think I'm gonna try.
Got one inside.
I never touched him.
Still there. Clear to the bottom. 31.282. Got one inside. Clear to the bottom.
So that was a good little run right there. So I'm going to see what happens if, at this stage of the game, if I keep my foot pretty well in it. I get the distinct impression
31.258.
that it starts to get loose here after a little bit. Starts to push, I think.
.964.
So yeah, it is possible just to hold it down. Yeah, see, there's the back end right there.
You got wheel damage.
All right, so that is the trick right there, is if you keep it pegged coming off of turn 4, looks like you do get loose. And there's no way to get around that. So while we're at it, let's go back here and before I hit that wall, we have a nice view of the new planetherring livery for the number 96 car. We'll be showing that off in the race tonight. Hopefully everybody will get a good look at it. And of course, that is courtesy of Trading Paints. If you have never used or have not installed Trading Paints in your own iRacing, you absolutely need to do that because you're missing out. A lot of people using it, and definitely need to do that yourself so you can check out these wonderful paint schemes. All right, so looks like we got about 10 minutes till this race starts, and so let's try, now that we've got a few laps in, seeing how the car handles, let's go out and do a couple of full.
You can really drive a car into the corners now.
Give it a couple of full beans laps in a typical quali fashion here. So like most qualifying sessions, I would want to take the car out and get it up to speed as much as possible. Staying inside those lines.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to pass though.
So we're going to just...
Looks like it's going to be all momentum day. The person that can keep the more momentum is going to be faster.
So we're just going to peg the throttle here. Take the low line. And let's just take... we got some traffic coming up on us, so we're going to stay to the outside here.
Inside. Stay right there.
Go ahead and steer it right into the corner. Still got throttle pretty well pegged. Probably going to pick up a bit of a toe off these guys. New tires and everything, so the car should bite. Alright, so that's going to be the first time lap. Let's see what happens on the second.
31.2.
Definitely
Starter for God.
Definitely biting really well.
I had to check up because of the guy on the outside, so I got a shot from 10.
Got one inside.
And
Car
I
stopped
almost
up high.
got
Clear to the bottom. Outside. 30.4. 8.4. Stay on the bottom. Stay low. Clear outside. Got one inside. Keep it on top. Clear.
Hold on. This said that I was 1.1 seconds off the lead.
30.884.
I was flat the entire time rim riding.
Okay, so that's pretty indicative of a qualifying session. So at this point, we are about 2/10 off of the quick time, which is almost certainly due to the draft. Need to bring that up to current.
Of course, you know, the track's got heat into it now.
Tires fall off for about 20, well, I would say about 12 laps.
And I would tend to agree with him.
You can start feeling them getting a little looser at about 6 or 7 laps in if you've been driving them hard.
Okay, so just to very quickly review what we got going on here. So, again, fixed setup race, Class A. Should be a lot of good drivers in here. We're at Las Vegas. This is the practice session. We got about 7 minutes until the race. So, if you're going to be driving this series, absolutely look at your steering ratio and your steering offset if you're having problems, especially if you're having problems with the car just seemingly difficult to control, or the fact that it just seems like every little move you make of the wheel, it wants to spin or go into the wall or whatever. You're having a hard time putting a car where you want it. So that's about all you really can change on this thing, and you really don't.
So did y'all hear that the K&N cars have tire punctures now?
Oh man, they're a blast to drive though.
Let's go with a little bit of a mute there. Nope.
Yeah, they
Guess
are. I
not.
love it.
I guess I got.
Honestly, I kind of want tire punctures to come to the higher stuff.
They tell you when your right front's starting to wear out.
Okay, well now it's muted. Maybe. All right, so like I was about to say, there's really no braking in this. As you get a few laps in the race, especially if you get behind people, definitely need to feather the throttle going around the corners. But for the most part, first few laps should be nearly flat out. Same thing with qualifying. So we got about 66 people registered for this race. Don't know who we're going to end up with. But like I said, I'm going to convert this session over to a race session. So there's the end card. Thanks for watching. Hopefully little videos like this showing some of the practice tips and whatnot that I usually go through is helpful. And I'll see you in a few minutes at the race. So like, subscribe. Really want to grow the channel, and catch you in the next session. Thanks for watching.